over the car. I am going to get sick.
Are you okay? Yeah. Hold it.
Welcome to Hit the Fan Softly. I'm Dan.
And I'm Joe, a bi-monthly show where we try to do something a little bit different and exciting. Today we have a special guest joining us, Keegan. Say hello, Keegan.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, so today's episode we're going to be talking about Marvel versus DC and which franchises we feel, in our opinions, is the better franchise. Keegan, why don't you start us off? Which one do you prefer, Marvel or DC, and tell us why?
Well, personally, as far as movies go, I think Marvel is absolutely doing it right, and DC is just playing catch-up at this point. But as far as, the comic books and graphic novels and stuff go, I've always been a bigger fan of DC over Marvel. For no in particular reason, just no characters really grasp my attention as much as a lot of the DC characters have.
Okay, what about you, Dan?
Well, I don't read comic books. So I'd have to go off movies. And I think he's right. Marvel's doing it right. Everything they've done so far. Guardians is the biggest movie of the year? Still? Marvel's still doing it?
Domestically.
Domestic, whatever. It's big. It's still doing good. Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's one of the weaker franchises, I guess. It's Marvel. Guardians. It's got a raccoon in it.
Okay, so you choose Marvel?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
It's a long-winded answer, but yes.
Yeah, I have to agree with Dan. I'm more partial to Marvel. I do read comic books, not as much as some people. I am partial to Marvel in both movies and comic books. I just find their characters a little bit more fun. As far as the cinematic universes go, I think DC's shitting the bed. And I think that Marvel's...
That's not a bad way to put it.
Disgusting.
Yeah. The Batman Trilogy was fun, and please interject with your guys' opinions. I think the Christopher Nolan Batman Trilogy was spot on, and I personally believe that maybe they could have maybe not followed that with the Justice League and Superman movies, but maybe should have used that universe.
It's the best thing they've done cinematically, by far.
Yeah, because, once you really get into, the movie franchises, DC's done, the Batman Trilogy well, and they've done, the Man of Steel was good, but, all the other things they tried doing, Catwoman and, Green Lantern. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, but that, we'll get into that at a later date. But, I think they really shit
Ironically,
the
we'll all
bed.
be wearing the same clothes when we get in on that.
What? No.
No, that's movie magic. But yeah, I think they really, they could have done so much better. I think they just tried to, ever since they came out with Avengers, since Marvel came out with Avengers, I just feel like DC's been trying to play catch up, and they're trying to copy it so much, and just trying to catch up to what Marvel's already done.
I think that DC should have carbon copied Marvel because it works, and it's not as... No matter what they're doing, it's already going to be considered and compared to Marvel. No matter what they do, how they do their cinematic universe, whether they do Justice League, obviously we know they're not doing Justice League first, but if they were to have done Justice League and then worked backwards, no matter how they do it, they're going to be compared to Marvel already. So why not just take the proven property and just be like, you know what, we're going to do that, and we're going to do it the exact same way, just with our guys and our story.
But it takes time. And that's the thing. And who's to say that if they start their little thing, they start with, we'll do a Batman movie, we'll do a Superman movie, do a Wonder Woman movie, then we do Wonder Woman 2 and Superman 2 and blah, 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 blah. By the time they get to their Justice League movie, everyone's burnt out of superheroes.
I don't see that happening.
No?
I don't. No, really, I don't. I think that it's...
How long did it take Marvel to get to Avengers? It's 4 or 5 years.
4, yeah.
4.
But look at how
So
long it's taken.
4 years.
Well, look how long it's taken them, though, to get to Avengers 2. It's taken them half the amount of time, really.
Yeah.
Or 3 years, technically.
Yeah, but you already have the characters that are, you already have those movies out there to establish the characters. You don't need to go in a origins and backstories and trying
Well, that's
to
what-
explain the characters, and Marvel's already done that.
Well, that's why I thought maybe it would be a good idea if they went off the Christopher Nolan Batman, so that way, sure, you can recast your Batman if you want to have it be set after those events and have it be an older Batman like your story is having. You can recast him as an older guy, but you don't need to redo those movies right now. You can use them. You can stem off them. You could have still done your Man of Steel movie as a direct sequel to the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, and then in Man of Steel you could have mentioned, referenced, or included the Flash or Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, somebody, and then just kind of built from there and there and there, and then instead of it being 4 or 5 years down the road, Justice League, it could have been 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
Is Justice League.
But that's kind of another thing too, though, as far as Justice League goes. I know, as far as Batman is concerned, I know you mentioned maybe having it, have an older Batman, but that interferes with other Batman stories they might want to tell down the road. As far as the Dark Knight Returns, parts 1, 2, they're working on the comic book of 3, I believe, is already out. They haven't made the animated movie yet. But those are cool storylines. You get Carrie Kelly as the new Robin, even though a lot of people don't like to accept her as a Robin.
It's probably because she's a ginger.
Yeah, more than likely it's because she has red hair. And,
Well, I mean, I'm just going off what I've heard that they wanted to do for this Justice League cinematic universe, is that they wanted the Batman to be older, and that's why. And I think that it's a point for lack of a better word, my team, Marvel, is when Captain America 3 and Batman vs. Superman were going against each other in a couple years here.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's what I was leading up to. It was same date, and that was kind of like the talk of the internet fan base for a really long time, was like, who's gonna blink, who's gonna blink, and I've said from the beginning that Marvel should not blink. They can afford to take a hit on one of their movies and allow that movie that they're taking a hit on to drain some of the box office from Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sure, it could be a quote-unquote dirty tactic, but the fact is, like, as even though Batman and Superman and all these guys are on an even playing field with these other superheroes, they're the new kids on the block in this movie franchise. They need to kind of, like, avoid Marvel at all cost. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I definitely think that's a smart. Like I said, being a DC fan, I would love it if DC was making these huge, everything you put a DC sticker on. It would be great if it was a blockbuster kind of, kind of like how Marvel does now. Marvel could come out with the most obscure superhero,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
and it's still going to make money because the Marvel brand, I guess,
Right.
has proven itself.
Well, that's
You
exactly
know,
what Guardians of the Galaxy.
The only Marvel movie that I've seen that I haven't been a big fan of is the first Captain America, and that's just because I'm not a big Captain America fan to begin with. And, I'm not saying that the movie wasn't done
Fucking
well.
commie.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm a big fan of Commander Comrade. I don't know if that's a real guy. I hope it is.
I think that I kind of agree with you, because I think that Marvel was relying on the Marvel name to get people in to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
And word of
Because
mouth.
say what you want, Guardians of the Galaxy is a no name compared to the other
Right,
superheroes and storylines
Compared
that
it to
they
the
were going
Avengers,
with. Yeah.
and,
So the fact that they were doing this, it was kind of like, this was, and this is the way I look at it, this was their gamble movie. This was them being able to be like, okay, we want to expand our franchise. We want it to be outside of Iron Man and Thor and Captain, and Hulk. Let's test it. Let's try
what
it
we
with
can
these
get away
guys.
with.
And you know what? It's showing them it works. And now this is pretty much guaranteeing Doctor Strange, Black Panther, the Inhumans, a Black Widow standalone, maybe even a Hawkeye standalone. You know what I mean? So on and so forth. They've talked about it. You can't roll your eyes about it. They've talked about it.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sad rolling my eyes because I don't want it.
that's one thing too about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now with all the superhero movies, they're making them darker, grittier, trying to make it more geared towards adults.
Yeah.
With the action and violence and things like that. But it's good to see that they're willing to take the chance on. There's action in Guardians, but I mean, it's still a funny movie. And it's refreshing. It's not just I'm the Batman and I'm here to stop the Penguin or whoever they're going to have him going against. But so it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air, just because they're finally doing something different. They're stepping out of the typical realm of dark action, which is cool. I mean, obviously, I see all those movies anyway. I mean, I'm going to continue to see them. But, like I said for the last 2 minutes, it's just good that they're doing something a little bit different. They're willing to take the chance on a comedy with action in it, as opposed to an action movie with a couple funny lines in it. My final thoughts on the matter is, DC, Marvel, we all seem to be in agreement on that as far as movies go. They're killing it. They're doing so good. But I have faith in DC, and I really hope, once they get a little bit more established, they can start doing a lot of much cooler storylines with the characters. Like, I know I mentioned it earlier, the Green Lantern origin movie. Not a big fan. But there's so many other big stories they can do that will actually tie in other members of the DC universe. Blackest Night storyline, which is actually a New York Times bestseller, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you can Google it. That or I'm making it up. It's one of the two. I'm not 100% sure. But, they could do Sinestro Corp Wars, a lot of other stuff like that. But, it would be kind of hard to do another Green Lantern so soon, especially if they wanted to keep it with Hal Jordan. But I mean, Batman, people are going to see Batman until they absolutely kill it, just because it's Batman and the Christopher Nolan trilogy has done so well. Okay. But ultimately, I would love to see it be, both of the companies thrive and make stupendous movies. But unfortunately, DC's got a little bit more work to do, in my opinion.
Dan?
Pretty much what he said.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see, have DC out there making movies just as well as Marvel. Because it'd be like, you got Marvel, Iron Man, Thor, and blah, 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 and all those guys. You kind of get tired of it. And then you can have, you got Black Adam and Shazam and Nightwing and all these other cool other characters that you haven't seen movies about. It'd be cool to have more superheroes to watch. Because I like superheroes.
And watching them.
Okay.
Also that.
They don't always know we're watching.
Nope. I'm watching you.
My father believed if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready.
I agree. I think that Marvel's obviously doing the best, in my opinion. I like Marvel more. And to be honest, it's not that I didn't like DC. They didn't really excite me for a long time. Reading your graphics and watching some of the movies with you, and even some of the animated movies, have really began to make some of these characters grow on me. Nightwing's really grown on me. Green Lantern I've always liked, especially because you're such a fan. Batman's beginning to grow on me, which I know is surprising to a lot of people that, Nice. Batman. So, yeah, I hope both companies do well, and we see many, many more. Obviously, with Marvel, we know they have many more movies planned. 40-some it's up to now. And so, yeah, that'll do it. That'll wrap it up for us, guys. Keegan, thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
We hope you never do again. That'll wrap it up for us today, guys. We appreciate you watching. Thank you for continuing to support us. Please continue to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dangfist, and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com, search Dangfist. Until next time.